Hello, my name is Don, and this is my boat. I made this. My name is Donald Collins. I was born in St. Anne's. That's about, a 3 hour boat ride from Placentia, the town of Placentia. And it's a slow, old style steamer boat. It was a fair sized vessel, much bigger than the model that I made here now. It's a different ship. And they were delivery. They brought provisions, food, and everything people needed, medicines and things, to isolated communities, the coastal boats. They went around and did that. And there was times when, they knew how to load their ship up so that she was properly ballast. And when my father and I left the island, he explained to me by writing on his hands with words that we were leaving and we weren't coming back. And then when we all moved, 1957. Now, that's when my dad and us, that's when we all moved. After that year, by around 1960, everyone had left. The island was deserted. Everybody had moved. All the houses were taken down and moved. Now, when we left the island, before we did, I went looking for my cat. He was lost. And we called out. Mom went all around everywhere calling out for the cat. Psst, psst, psst. We couldn't find her, and I cried. And we had to leave, and I lost my cat. It was a nice, house cat that we had. And altogether in my family, there were 12 of us. There were 2 babies who were sickly, so they passed away. So there was 10 of us. Altogether, there was 10 of us. Yeah, 12 in total. Now 2 passed away. I had 2 sisters who died. And I never went to school. My mom kept me at home. She was very afraid of everything. So I wasn't too keen on going either and leaving. So I've never been to school. Never. And I was the only deaf person in our family. I was the only one. All the family were hearing. I was the only one who couldn't hear. And school, I've never been to school. My mother taught me to read and write. She'd put down a word, and I'd say, what's this one? And she says, that's rain. And I said, well, what's this one? And that's snow. And so that's how I learned. Now, I was just 16 years old, living in St. Anne's. So inside the shed, that's where I did all my work. Now, I started in 1954, near the end of the year. And I worked all the way through, and after about a year, 1955, that's when all the work was done. I had put it all together by then, and, I added a coat of paint. Now, the work I did on my model, I did all the while helping my father fishing. We'd go out in the boat and haul nets for codfish. We'd haul it in and the boat would be overflowing with fish. Actually, we got up around 4 o'clock in the morning. We'd have something to eat. And then in a while, around 4:30, we'd steam out. And we'd make our way out to where we'd haul our nets. And Dad knew the way because there was rocks and shoals, and he knew how to steer his way through, made clear so that we could get out and haul our nets. And we always had lots of fish. And it was, when coming back, she'd be loaded down. And we'd always, when we'd get, as we traveled back, it was always my job to bail out the boat. And like I say, we'd get back home, have something to eat, and of course we'd unload our fish. So that's how it went. I worked on my model. The next day I'd be up early to work with Dad out in the boat. And in the evenings I'd work on my model. I started out small with the center section and worked my way out. And I'd cut out ribs and I'd run, small planks. Last year, in March, I started a restoration. I took a whole load of pictures first to make sure I could restore it back the way I wanted. And I brought her right down to the ribs because some of the parts were fairly old and warped. So I picked out the bad ones and saved the good ones. So there were plenty that I took off. And really, I got her down to the bare bones. And I cut off the sections into lengths that I know that were appropriate. And I had to bend them just to the right angle to make sure they fit. Some of the old ones just didn't do it, so I took a lot of parts off. And like I say, I had her down to the bare bones. And so I've got more wood, more small planks that I made. I made sure all the posts were in just right. Lined them all up right around the gunnels. And I went around and trimmed them all to size. I bent the planks to fit just right. And when it was done, I felt great. This is my work. I made this myself.